Yeah, and that is and that is the end of the most amusing anecdote I know.
Great. So, welcome back. It's been a
Welcome
hot
back.
minute.
Welcome back. Hi, my name is Willows.
My name is Tyler.
And welcome to Alcohol Beyond This Point. It's the podcast where we debate business topics.
And drink a lot of alcohol.
Both sober and then drunk to see if we come to the same conclusions, just like the ancient Persians did.
In Parliament.
Correct. Today we are drinking a ton of craft beer. We're not going to break them down, but we have like 35 beers in front of us. We're not going to drink them all, probably. Well, we might. We'll see.
Yeah, probably not.
The only one we're going to highlight is this first one we're going to drink, and it's a by a Canadian company, Spectrum Brewing. I think they're out of BC.
Yep.
You have Vancouver, British Columbia, and it is a pumpkin spice latte ale. So I don't really like pumpkin spice, but we had to get it for the meme. So I'm showing it to the camera right now if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah, and we got some cups of water in front of us too because we're getting smarter.
Yeah, well, I mean, smarter and then not smarter.
Can opening ASMR. I got some on my face.
I hate it when that happens.
Cheers.
Oh, you got a bubble on yours. That's weird. Strong smell.
Not too bad, actually.
Tastes like pumpkin pie.
I thought it'd be worse.
Yeah, it just tastes like pumpkin pie. It's great.
You get a 2.5 stars out of 5.
For what it's trying to be, I'd give it a 4.5.
For what it's trying to be, it's being very good.
Yeah, doing a good job. Doing a good job at being what it be.
I'm pretty hungover, so maybe let's do this for 5 more minutes before we get into shot collar. Do you want to explain why I'm so hungover today?
Because we did this yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to put up that podcast or not because I don't remember a thing, but you said I just ranted about religion for 15 minutes. So
yeah, so skip back one podcast.
We'll see if it comes out at all. It might be a lost episode, but
that's fine.
But yeah, we did this yesterday. We got these new mics, so we've been like energized. So
if you can tell a difference, congratulations, you're not deaf.
Yeah, this is definitely the quality is much better for the mics.
Yeah.
These are like really, really good. I think we talked about them last time. So.
Like the same quality you'll see in any music studio or professional recording anything.
So what you're saying is we are professionals.
We at least spend money like professionals.
That's fair. I spend a lot of money
every day. Long story short, we're fucking loving this. We're gonna put a smidgen more preparation and effort into this, and when I say preparation, I mean like 3 minutes before we started recording, we prepared.
Yeah, we're gonna try and actually come up with like topics that aren't just us freestyling off the top of our dome.
But mostly that because with all the videos and ads and content that I've like tried to film before, I've been in 2 companies now that were like content, or we're trying to run like a content based business, both like real estate.
Yeah.
So I always found that like the scripted content was never as good as the freestyle stuff until you had like a certain level of mastery of like a script reader, your script writing, your production, your research, your pre-production, like then you're getting into something like radio rental, which is like they release a season of 10 podcasts that take them 4 months to produce, and it's a team of 5 people.
Well, that's like that just reminded me of like photography,
right?
As well, is like the best pictures are them not telling you to do stuff, them just like
candids, yeah,
telling you to just whatever, do something.
Yeah, just act normal, like you're not being photographed.
Yeah, and those are the best photos, is when you're just kind of doing random shit, right?
Yeah, so that kind of dovetails into the fact that we do this even though we're not masters at it because, we're disciples of like Gary Vee, and I wouldn't say disciples of, but we're fans of Gary Vee, like Joe Rogan, guys like that.
We're practitioners, right?
Right.
And when you look at like Joe Rogan, say what you want about him, but when his podcast is undisputably the biggest podcast, right?
Yeah.
And, no one else can just call Bernie Sanders and be like, yo, get on my podcast. And he comes, right?
Yeah.
Like no one else can call Like, he had Mike Tyson on. He had fucking Edward Snowden on last week.
Right.
Like
At the height of the COVID pandemic, he had the Surgeon General on
Yeah,
his podcast. Like the
Joe
2 days
Rogan-
after he made his first major
Joe
statement.
Rogan is the undisputed champion of podcasts. And when you look at like Joe Rogan episode 1, it's him and Brian Redban on a webcam.
Yeah.
Like in
and they're
his
just-
basement.
And they're just like shit talking.
Yeah, like so
We're not claiming to be as funny or talented or practiced as like he already had like
he was already a stand-up comic.
a
and-
dozen 2 dozen years of like comedy and presentation in front of him at
yeah,
that point.
of course.
But hey, if he would have started podcasting
When he
at
was
the-
when he was 20.
when he was 20,
Yeah.
who knows how much more or how sooner he would have become successful, right?
When I think what's really interesting right now is that politicians and media people like typically old school, like people with old schools of thought,
Yeah.
excuse me,
Wonderful.
are now realizing the reach that Joe Rogan has and other podcasts. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is better than getting on network TV.
Right. Long form and also being on a long form unscripted interview
Much different than going on 5 minutes on
way
CNN,
more
right?
effective than 5 minutes of like basically you're getting sound bites,
Yeah, agreed.
which I mean fuck that. I haven't been on the news myself, but I've like been a part of a project that's like been interviewed, right? And like, okay, so tell us what it's like being on the news, Willows.
Yeah, they don't use a lot. They probably, like, I've been interviewed for my business quite a few times, and a couple times on like television, like
So
on national news.
Talk about the television ones.
They're very produced. Like they know exactly what they're doing. They're not
Yeah.
just like, they know exactly the shots they need when they get there. I feel rushed all the time. It's
Yeah.
always like, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, because they have deadlines, right?
Yeah.
They need to get the story in by 5 for it to air that night on the news, right? And like apparently they're editing it while they go. Like when they get film, it's going to the cloud, and someone back at the fucking at CBC is putting it together,
That makes sense.
right? But when I got interviewed, the one I'm thinking, like I was on CBC National News, the French station, but it was still national news, about the Vineyard Project.
Yeah.
And they interviewed us probably for like 3 minutes and used 10 seconds of it.
Yeah.
Like just,
It just hacked up. They use like your
when I was like in the middle of a sentence when
Yeah.
they cut in,
yeah.
right? Yeah, because they pick what plays, right? Like, so it's interesting. It's not the same. Like I didn't say Coolsville sucked.
Yeah.
We're just gonna leave that. Okay. Okay, in the live action Scooby Doo movie, he's like, the reporter's like putting a bunch of shit out of context about the Mystery Inc. or whatever. And Fred is like, you're just trying to get people to think that I think Coolsville sucks. And then it cuts to the news. He's like, and this is what Fred had to say. I think Coolsville sucks. Like,
Okay. I did not get that joke.
yeah. I want to, in Billions and like Archer and Suits and stuff, they always like drop obscure movie references and then
Yeah.
don't address it, just power through.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that more where I don't explain myself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like you said, I think Coolsville sucks, and then just breeze through it. Like,
Fair enough. I think people are getting fed up with that kind of coverage.
what, like network television?
Well, yeah.
And ratings are way down, right?
Yeah, highly produced coverage.
Fucking Joe Rogan's getting like what, 80 million streams and 80 million fucking YouTube views a month or something. It's insane.
I think he might be higher than that.
And okay, and I don't know if this was because of him, but Spotify has video now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was because of him.
Yeah.
Because
it might be because
he just signed a deal with Spotify to go on Spotify
to not go on YouTube anymore.
and a big part of the Joe Rogan podcast is the video. You would never
Yeah.
have that like Elon Musk meme or like all the his elaborate sets and everything, like all the shit in the background, and like
yeah.
you would never have that shit if it wasn't for the video. And I put on the Edward Snowden Joe Rogan the other day when I was driving, and I mount my phone to the dash or whatever, and then it starts playing the video, and I'm like, "Excuse me, I didn't even know this did this."
Yeah,
like,
no, I discovered the same thing. Like I think as far as I've seen, they're the only podcast doing that.
So it probably was made for him then. I
Probably.
bet that was part of the deal.
It's part of the contract.
He signed $1 billion fucking deal. It wasn't a billion. Was it $1 billion?
It was a third of $1 billion.
Okay, still like, well, I remember I saw some post when it happened of someone breaking that down, like how much money they're making.
Yeah.
It's a crew of 4.
Yeah.
It's like Joe, Jamie, and 2 audio engineers.
Yeah.
And like that's it.
Yeah.
It's a crew of 4 just like signed a deal, and I thought it was going to be an exclusivity deal. It was not. He's still uploading to YouTube.
Oh.
They paid him to get on the platform
Oh.
because he was like, no, I'll just do YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we want you on Spotify. He's like, give me $300 million. They're like, okay.
Huh.
It's insane.
wild.
Because I thought they were going to start taking it off YouTube. No, it's not an exclusivity deal.
Right, because I guess for his perspective, he can make the money on YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, but from Spotify's perspective, how many people are now going to get Spotify because it's easier than watching the YouTube video?
Yeah, 100%.
Like a lot of people.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna
Listen to Joe Rogan more.
way more.
Yeah, because like even if I do it on my phone, if you don't pay for the fucking YouTube Premium, you can't close it and do other shit, right?
Well, no, I was using Google Podcasts.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. I would put it on the YouTube video on my computer when I'm at home. But if I was like driving or something, listening to podcasts, I just wouldn't listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, no.
And now I do.
I would use Google Podcasts, but like as much as I want to love that app because I'm a big Google and Pixel fan, it crashes all the time and like doesn't remember my place. Where especially with like a 3-hour video or a 3-hour podcast, it won't remember.
And
my
I'm not
place.
going to remember how far I was.
No, like you approximate it and you're fucking around with it forever. And when you're driving, it's just like, fuck it. And you change it, right? That happens to you 3-4 times and you stop trying.
I think Spotify's probably the undisputed champion of
100%.
anything, of ever name a thing, right?
I think I've been loyally using them for probably 6-7 years now.
See, that was I've only been using them like less than a year because I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm just cheap, right?
Yeah, you're super cheap.
I'm I'm not anti subscription services.
No, you're just stingy about the ones you take.
I'm just cheap. But Spotify is the only. I have Netflix, Spotify, and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And the last 2 are new this year because I'm finally getting paid more than $500 a month.
Right.
So I can afford. I was doing like the thing where you like scam Amazon Prime, like every 3 months you like get a free trial or whatever.
Yeah.
And then cancel the free trial before they bill you and then like do that. But I started ordering so much on Amazon. Like Prime is honestly so fucking good. Like next day delivery on shit is so fucking great.
Yeah, now we're getting a Winnipeg fulfillment center.
Oh,
so
they
we're
might be
gonna have
building
same
fulfillment.
day
Yeah, we might have same day.
on some stuff.
But yeah, and it's $8 a month. I'm like, oh come on.
No, it's
Whatever.
a great deal. I mean,
And-
you're supporting the system.
And Netflix is fine. You know, I don't watch a ton of movies anymore, but like I like to have the Netflix. It's hard to Netflix and chill without any Netflix, right?
Or people.
But
Thanks, COVID.
yeah, but Spotify is the only subscription service that I use every single day,
Yeah.
like without a break.
Yeah.
I use it like hours a day, every single day
And
since I've had it.
And even still, like it's probably one of the best one of the best app experiences
Oh yeah, it's great.
I've ever had because my girlfriend is like transitioning over. She was using Google Play.
Who does that?
Exactly. But she's like, I like it because it's like my library of music. But it was a weird app because like their main menu was like 9 items, and one of them was your music. So you had to like, just the general function of the app was already nested in a menu.
Yeah.
And then within that menu was like just an awful setup of like albums and playlists
Well,
and like
what I used to
it
do
always crashed. Like it was fucking awful for podcasts and audiobooks. Like it was not good. And Spotify just nails it.
What I used to do was just put music on my phone
And use the Samsung player.
and just use the music player. Yeah.
Yeah. But even that's like not that great of a UI.
No, I mean it's not great of UI, and it's like you have to keep putting shit on your phone, right?
Which is a lot of work.
But like now with Spotify, like I have a bunch of weird. You've seen my playlist. I have like Irish pub music to fight to, and like I have a bunch of weird playlists of like shit that I don't want to put on my phone, but I want to be able to have the opportunity to do like to listen to that stuff occasionally. And now we're going to enter the segment that we like to call Shot Caller, where you, the audience, can choose the shot of alcohol that we're going to take.
because it's tomorrow compared to last. It's been a day.
What are you talking about,
I don't know.
buddy?
So, what are we doing today, Willows, and why?
So we're out of hard liquor in the house. And because none of you beautiful ingrates have sent us any alcohol, just kidding, I love you. I was going to say customers, listeners. Oh, we need to come up with a name for our audience at some point. Not right now. We're going to say something stupid. So because we don't have any hard liquor,
y'all can name yourselves.
our shot today is going to be a mystery shot from my flask that was in my bag. I have no idea what's in here, but it sounds there's about 4 ounces, so we can pour a couple shots.
If you can't tell how many ounces are in your flask,
by shaking it.
do you actually use your flask?
It's a brown liquid. Okay, let's take this mystery shot. Do we want me to, like, I'm going to smell it, try to figure it out. It's definitely a whiskey. I'm not sure what.
Smells kind of cheap, Willows.
Cheers.
I mean, flask whiskey should be cheap. That was actually pretty smooth, actually.
Not too bad. So thank you for joining us on this segment we call Shot Collar.
And why do we do...
And if you'd like to send us a bottle, send it to this address on your screen. It's a pug.
It's a pug. So we brainstormed a little bit about the shit that's been bothering us. You know, something to talk to, or talk to you guys about, because one thing that I found is super productive. I actually started making a list today of like random food that I love and ideas that that are really interesting to me that you will 100% forget like a week from now, and especially when you actually need to recall that thing. So I use Keep, like Google Keep Notes on my phone.
Yeah, my partner swears by Google Keep.
So much good shit in food. I have like photos in here, tags, you can convert stuff, whatever. We're not being paid by them, but we should.
By Google?
Thanks, Google.
Thanks, Google.
So one of the things that I was thinking about today, because I've had a lot of like shipment issues because everything that I need and want is like not common stock. I'm doing like custom tile projects, like weird renovations, all these different things. Like Home Depot itself has a very small section for what I do, and that's the biggest store selection besides like dedicated suppliers. And even dedicated suppliers even have like, they have a ton of stock, but like there's certain things they just never bring in because of whatever percentages. So I've been having like 2 to 4 week lead times on everything, and I'm stuck with having been prepaid for a couple of jobs and sitting on my ass with nothing to do because I'm waiting for materials to get in. So I was supposed to start working Monday. Today's Thursday. So I've had like a 5-day weekend, and I hate it.
I was gonna ask, how do you feel, Tyler?
It's awful.
Why?
It was good up until like Tuesday was fine.
Yeah.
3-day weekend was fine.
Yeah.
Like for reference, I went Sunday, Monday was like off. Tuesday was getting a bit long. Wednesday, I put myself to work a little bit. I stayed out of the house all day.
We got drunk yesterday.
Yeah, we got drunk.
Yeah,
no, it's like, I didn't have time to just kind of sit down. It's like, it's that thing. I got to keep my hands busy. I got to keep my mind busy.
Yeah.
After like just a short period of time, because there's a difference between vacation mode
and just having a break
and just having like a long weekend. And even in vacation mode, like, bro, how much did I work
when we were in Mexico
vacation?
Last year? Was that 2020 or?
That's 2020.
That was 2020. Yeah, that was this year.
What the fuck?
We went to Mexico. That was just before COVID. We were there in February.
Yeah, we landed like
my birthday, March 2nd.
Yeah, like 10 days before the borders closed.
Yeah.
Like, don't fact check me, but...
Yeah. But, I remember when we came back into Canada, tangent, but when we came back to Canada, all I had to do was sign a thing that said we hadn't been in China.
Yeah.
And that was it. And they let me in. And then, 10 days later, the fucking borders closed from everywhere.
Oof.
Like, it got bad quick.
Well, I mean, borders closed to travelers, not to citizens. But
of course.
Still.
Okay, anyway, but when we were in Mexico, both of us, you more so, but both of us were working a few hours a day.
Yeah, I did. I was still doing calls every morning.
Yeah.
Was it every morning?
Uh,
I don't think it was every morning.
no, what we were doing...
It was every couple mornings.
We were doing FaceTimes with everyone at least once a day, but then when we would have our like breakfast on the beach, and you would bring your laptop, and then we would like tether me, and I would like respond to my emails, and then you would like do whatever you needed to do.
My company meetings, whatever, which happened. I think I'd show up to like the weekly one.
Yeah,
it was like a conference call between whatever, like me and 7 of my staff, and just ran the minutes, did whatever. But we're sitting in this like tropical lounge bar.
Could be doing anything.
Sipping mimosas.
And doing our work for our companies back in Winnipeg.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I was getting paid the whole time.
I was not getting paid at all.
Because
I am a owner.
Right.
So I don't make shit.
Exactly. I was an employee.
Was that us that had that? I think it was us. I think it was you that said, like, if you're trying to make a lot of money, don't fucking start a business. Like, there's much easier ways to start business to make money.
If you want to make money, go be a bank manager.
Like, this is a shitty way to make money.
Go trade stocks. Like, if you're trying to get rich, if you're trying to have money, go.
There's much easier ways.
Go have a profession that makes money. If you want to get like filthy fucking wealthy, you got to be insane. And not actually be focused on like how much money can I make today. It's like how, like, you're so far beyond the guys that are like, I gotta make money today. They're wearing fucking Yeezys, they're driving BMWs, they're buying big houses, they're going to parties. Like, you're not even in that universe. Buddy that's gonna be a billionaire is driving a fucking broken down jalopy. He doesn't give a shit. He's drinking cheap beer. Like, he's got a shitty suit. He's might be homeless.
Hey,
but I'm describing Willows.
This is a good suit. Fuck off.
But no, exactly. You're well dressed.
This is my second day in a row I'm wearing a 3-piece suit. I'm a vest guy now.
You're like already a billionaire though.
I am I'm a Willowsianaire. Will. Anyway, workaholic.
If you got the mindset you want to be rich, don't start a fucking business.
That's your official advice?
It's not what you want.
That's your advice?
It's not what you want. If that's your first want,
money,
business ain't what you want.
I want to take over the world. I don't give a shit about being rich. Just happens because I'm taking over the world.
Yeah, no, it's like a byproduct, but it's not. It's not what we work to every day. It's not. We don't negotiate for our checks. We don't push for what we're gonna take home at the end of the day. We push to be bigger. We push to be better. We push to do more. So make that your fucking mission, because otherwise, I think there's also a difference between a workaholic and somebody with purpose. That's like, let's go.
So, okay. Would you describe yourself as a workaholic? Do you think that other people describe you that way?
I think people that don't know me, yes, would absolutely call me a workaholic.
On our mastermind call that we do every week with a couple of our friends, JL said to me, he asked me to use 3 things that I would describe, that I think my employees describe myself as. And I'm bad at shit like that, but because I don't give a shit what people, hard. I don't give a shit what people think about me.
Yeah.
So I don't think about it. But one of the things I said behind alcoholic, that was weird how I said that. I said alcoholic, but I also said workaholic. I think my employees would say that I'm always at work.
Yeah.
Which is
at work, thinking about work.
Which is more or less true, but I also definitely I really believe in like perception is reality, and I try to put forward a certain image
of being a hustler.
But like I do work a lot, like more than, but I'll have like 8-hour days, and I'm like ready to go do something else because I'm like, that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Like that was a short day, like whatever, right?
Yeah, 100%. I cannot function on it. Like an 8-hour day for me, I'm like, I get home, I either gotta work out, I gotta dive right into like, I'll go down the rabbit hole on YouTube, like researching or something I'm passionate about. I'll start, doing business plan writing. I'll do emails. I'll do something active and proactive with my girlfriend, go on a date, like we go
Ooh.
do something. Like there's got to be like activity
Yeah.
when I'm in motion. But here's the weird thing. As soon as I slip out of gear, it's very easy for me to just be like immobile, like
For like long periods of time.
for long periods of time.
I feel that.
It's so easy. As soon as I slip out of gear, I drop into neutral, and getting back up is so fucking difficult that I don't want to let myself get out of gear again.
Well, I think it's a really interesting way to put it, because I find that with like my depression is that I get in slumps.
Oh, 100%.
Where it's hard to get out, right?
I started tiling because I know myself well enough. I've been through enough transitions in my life that I knew if I had my hands idle for like even a short period of time, I was gonna slip into like a self, what do you call it? Self, like, reinforcing. What's the word? Basically, when like it's a cycle of thought when it just reinforces itself every time you go around. It's like I'm not doing
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. So
Okay.
it's like a self-fulfilling cycle of like I'm not doing anything, therefore I'm useless, and I am useless.
Oh, I'm
therefore,
useless and I'm lazy, so therefore I'm not going to do anything. Yeah, I know. I get it.
Therefore I'm useless and lazy.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like it cycles down, and it's really fucking quick because I'm always in my head.
Yeah. So
Like 48 hours of no mission,
yeah,
too much.
I agree. You said you consider you would think people describe you as a workaholic.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you describe yourself as one?
I don't think so because I can turn it off so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Do you feel guilty when you're not working?
no.
I do.
See, this is where we differ majorly.
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty when I'm not working, but I'm to the point where I work because I want to.
Yeah, which I don't necessarily want to go to work, but I want to build my business. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I do want to go to work, but like,
I don't have the negative guilt. I don't know what I did, but I got rid of the guilt portion, and I do stuff because I want to. And I slow down, I get into the negative cycle, more of like being negative on myself.
I wonder if, so you tile by yourself.
Yeah.
You're a sole proprietor. The only people you're accountable to is your clients.
Yeah.
I have 4 employees. I have a partner, and I have a lot of people relying on me to be there every single day.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do, both positive and negative, on my mental health, because the feeling of being able to, that I have people relying on me is a great feeling. But it's also stressful, where it's like, because as a business owner, there's always something you can make yourself do.
Yeah.
Like I've never done for the day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I do my event, I bartend, I finish all my emails, and I sit down at home. Well, now it's time to come up with a fucking marketing thing, or it's time to fucking do some outward, some cold calls, or it's time to come up with a new product, or there's something to do, right? No matter what, no matter how less, like small amounts on my plate, there's always something I could create for myself to do more work. So when I sit down at the end of the day and I'm like, I want to watch a movie on Netflix, I'm like, but that's 3 hours that I could be fucking doing something.
I never think about it that way because I don't see days in terms of hours. I see days more in terms of like either physical energy output or creative energy output and decision energy output. Like those are 3 things that are finite resources that you tap into every day. So physical energy output is the easiest one to understand. You work.
You're fucking tired.
Right. Like I can reasonably work like at a daily pace, 6-7 days a week. I can reasonably do 12 hours a day of work.
Yeah.
Maybe 14, 16.
And we're not talking physical work either. Like,
no, that's what I mean. Like physical labor.
Okay. Because mental work is fucking taxing as well.
Right. No, I mean physical work I can do probably 12 to 16 hours a day. And
without dying.
Right.
That's your farmer genetics coming through.
Well, that's because I've been doing it for
I'd be
a
dead.
while. Right, but
16 hours a day of fucking physical work, I'd be
Right,
I'd be literally dead.
but if you did it for like a month and a half,
I don't
2
want
months,
it. I'd be dead.
yeah, but you could condition yourself to it.
I don't want to do that.
Construction workers do this all fucking day.
I don't give a shit about construction workers.
Anyways, that's my limit. And then
just kidding. I care about construction workers.
mental work, I can probably, if I take breaks, if I eat well, if I exercise that day, I can probably hit between like 8 and 12 hours of mental work, which is a lot.
Okay, so now we're at 28 hours.
Right.
Perfect.
But not in the same day as the physical.
Right.
Like you can't.
Because the physical drains your mental and vice versa.
Well, you're just fucking sleepy.
I am a sleepy boy.
Exactly. And then creative work is like super finite. You're talking, you have 2 to 4 hours in a 24-hour period.
Well, and that's what they say about.
creative.
That's why they say about like writer's block and shit.
Exactly.
Where you're just out of creative energy.
And I don't flex that muscle enough. And if I hit a vein, if I'm writing or something like that, I could do it all day.
Yeah.
But not sustainably. Like that's not a muscle.
Yeah. No,
that's not a muscle exercise.
I know exactly how you feel. Like I'll just like there's days where like I'll have like a random spout of motivation where I'm like doing something else and I'm like no I need to work on creative right now because I have the energy to do this right now, and I'm able to do it super productively for a long time, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, can't do it anymore.
Yeah. No.
Like you can't force yourself to do.
But you can and you can't.
Like, you can and you can't.
It depends what you're. It depends what you're trying to accomplish.
Which is why I feel bad for like my graphic designer and stuff. Right? It's like that must get fucking difficult.
But
right?
that's his
like,
muscle that he exercises every day. I exercise my literal muscles. For me, my first point of failure doing my job, my first point of failure was my lower back, and I got so fatigued.
Sorry for laughing.
And the first 2 weeks of doing this, it was just from like the constant lifting up, down, bending over.
Well, I remember you
moving
said you
around.
were fucking sore. Like
I was so sore. My back muscles were like literally trembling, and I could bend over like a 10-degree angle. Anything past 10 degrees, I would literally fall over because my back couldn't support my weight. And that was like my first failing point. And then it just kind of like breaks out from there. But that's the muscle exercise. So Neil has
my
got
graphic designer,
insane creative muscles that this guy just fucking flexes on us all day long and creates amazing stuff.
Shout out Neil at Groundwork Creative Co. Look them up.
Incredible artist.
Incredible artist. One of the best graphic designers I've ever worked with.
Ever seen.
Yeah, recommend him to no end. Like 100%. But so I think I've described it on this podcast before where I was talking about how I use my workaholic nature to treat my depression.
Yeah.
Like, because the whole idle hands thing, right? Like if you have free time to sit and think about how your life sucks, then
You ain't doing it right.
your life sucks. But if I'm just always working and I never have a fucking minute to myself, it was honestly giving me better mental health. And obviously there's a cap. Like I'm not saying like do that, but it gets tiring after a while. But there was a point where it's like I was working so much and not like working, but I have a lot of wins.
I'd call it a healthy coping mechanism.
A productive coping mechanism, at least.
Well, because it's not too easy to obtain. The payoff isn't too high. It's not too addictive. Like there's nothing in there as a vice that makes it bad.
Yeah.
There's nothing about work as a vice that's going to be harmful to you long term.
Yeah, unless I'm fucking doing tar work. I was just trying to think of something hard, physical. Like, for instance, my partner's stepfather did concrete for 30 years. Now he has to take fucking morphine pills to like get out of bed because his back's fucked. He has like multiple discs in his spine that are fucked.
Yeah,
from doing concrete for 30 years.
That's why I got out of physical labor, because like my knees are swelling and I have to like ice my knees and take drugs and I'm fucking 19. Like Jesus Christ, I need to diversify
But the
my
work,
ability
but
to
the
make
work
money.
that I do is not physically demanding.
No.
Um, yeah, but
A mental?
because it's not just the work. It's the fact that I'm accomplishing stuff that no one else is accomplishing. Like the whole nature of my business is very innovative, and like the wins I get when I like fight off against the government and I win.
So you're saying it turns you on.
Oh, absolutely. Like, but what I'm saying is I'm not just working for like the sake of working, or I'm not just working for money, right? There's something there. Now there's probably, my therapist would probably say that I'm trying to make up for losses in other parts of my life by having all this control and trying to win.
Oh, 100% you got control issues.
We already know this. we know I have control issues. I have control issues. I have abandonment issues. See, I would say I'm very self-aware of my flaws.
Yeah, I would agree.
I just don't care.
Well, no, you just work within them.
Yeah, but I would say I'm pretty like. There's a lot of people. I'm sure everyone listening to this knows that just are fucking flawed out the ass and don't know that they're shitty people. I know I can be a shitty person, and I know what my flaws are, and the issues that I have, but I'm also trying to work through them in a natural.
You're like a high functioning fucked up person.
Well, you and Mitch and JL all said the other couple weeks ago that I'm like, you saw that I was putting more effort into being a good friend.
Yep.
That stuck with me a lot because I'm like, I'm putting in more effort to be a good friend. I don't.
It's good getting recognized for your fucking effort.
I need to stop blaming. Like I said that a long time. Like I made a post. I occasionally get drunk and do drugs and get really depressed.
And make Facebook
and
posts.
then make Facebook posts like talking to my brother who's dead.
Yeah.
And they're just so I can, get my thoughts out. But I make them public because I like to document my struggle because I think it's relevant for people because I think people go through a lot of different shit and it's good for them to see me getting over it.
And it's too common for people to be scared to share their weak moments.
Yeah, because I try to put on this persona of like this fucking untouchable hustler that whatever, blah, 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 accomplishing all this. But I also want to show people that I'm fucking human.
Yeah.
So I made a post saying like, I'm going to stop using you as blaming you for, like, oh, I didn't accomplish all this because I'm depressed because you're dead. It's like, that's not what he would have fucking, he would have told me to suck it the fuck up.
Right. And me as one of your best friends, like I still didn't know that you necessarily had that revelation until you posted it.
Because I'm also not good at talking about my feelings.
Right. Exactly. Which is what social media is great for.
Yeah, exactly. But I acknowledge that being a problem. And that's why I did do stuff like that. So I can, right, whatever. I don't know what my point was going to be, but, I was working through my depression via work. But do you think you can't do that forever?
Yeah, I think you can.
Okay. Well, okay, like, I don't think you can. So let's debate that.
Honestly, like,
I think you only have a certain amount of emotional energy.
Well, I'm not saying you're not going to run out of energy, but you can absolutely continue to try that same pattern until you're fucking dead. So,
yeah.
On that train of thought, before I forget this, because I've almost forgotten it 3 times and to keep trying to recall it.
Okay.
What do you think is the long-term expense of high mental output, creative output, everything that we want to do, building empires, building businesses, and, being the master of our domains, being leaders of people? Like, what is the long-term cost of that? Because there's no such thing as something for nothing.
Of course.
Right? So buddy doing concrete for 30 years.
Fucks up his back.
Yeah. Blows out his knees. Football players, they fuck up their brains.
What's that brain thing called? CTE? That's a brutal...
Yeah, no, it's like they fuck up their brains for like basically for the cost of being superstars.
Yeah.
And rich people, you know, basketball stars, people that get real rich real quick, usually go real broke real quick.
So you're saying people like us.
Newton's law, like for every action, there's equal opposite reaction. So what is the cost of who you're trying to become?
My mentors in business would say that there's a point where you burn out, where you just can't give the energy. Yeah. You just can't give the energy anymore.
Man, people try to talk to me about burnout all the time. Like, man, you don't understand my threshold. I know where my burnout point is, and I ain't there yet.
I always make a joke like that. I'm always like, okay, well, I probably have a few more years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I know what burnout feels like, and I think people use that as a fucking cop-out way too quick.
Because I don't think I've ever even gotten close to a burnout work-wise.
No,
the only time that I've been, you know, at the end of my rope, so to say, is because just my life was just so mentally taxing.
Well, you didn't feel your burnout because it didn't break you yet, but it didn't mean you weren't close. So our trip to Mexico,
but I wasn't.
You recouped a lot because
I agree.
Some of those days you slept fucking 18 hours a day.
No, it was not 18 hours.
No, you slept like 18 hours the one day.
Where you stacked all the shit on my face?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah, no, I stacked so many things on your head. No, you slept like 18 hours a day. You were sleeping consistently like 10, 14, 16 hours a day.
Well, and because I think I said this on the podcast in Mexico that we filmed. I think that's episode 9, if memory serves. I sleep typically, I've been better at it recently. Now I've been getting like 6 to 8 hours, but typically 4 to 6.
Yeah.
And I've done lower for long periods of time. I've done like months of 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I've always had a trouble, like ever since puberty, pretty much. Like my mother hated me for this, but I like never slept when I was a kid, pretty much since I was 13. And I always had really bad insomnia, and I still do. And I've tried fucking everything. People always like, oh, you need to stop. I've tried turning off the computer and the phone 2 hours before sleep.
Yeah.
And like read a book and shit. I've tried no light, no sound. I've tried a little bit of light and white noise. I've tried fucking delta waves. I've tried whatever.
You're just an insomniac.
And I've, over the last 11 years or more, I've tried everything. Yeah. And I've tried not eating. I've tried eating a lot. I've tried whatever. And it's shitty. And I know it's bad for me before you lecture me. But like one of the things that puts me right to fucking bed is getting blackout drunk. And I just and I just pass out.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe that's one of the reasons why I drink so much. But I never really put a lot of value on sleep. Like it doesn't, like I obviously understand the physiological need for it and like the obviously it's good. But so to your point, when we were in Mexico, I remember the first night when I woke up, I sleep with my toque over my head, over my eyes.
Yeah.
That's a holdover from when I was homeless. Because when you're homeless, you just got to sleep, you know, whatever.
Wherever, whenever.
So I used to pull my toque over my eyes to make it dark. And I get, like, if I'm lying in bed without my toque on, I like, my body's like, you need the toque, you need the toque. Like, it's a weird, but I've been doing that since I was homeless. And so I lift the toque up. And we had like there blackout shades in the room,
pretty much,
but they had like on either end you could see the light coming through.
Yeah.
And I saw the light coming through, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well it must be like, you know, it's February, so I'm like, oh, it must be past 8 a.m. Fucking grab my phone, it's like 12:30.
Yeah.
And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Did I just sleep 13 hours?
Yeah.
Like,
and I was like back from the gym, like showering up.
Yeah, you had like gone to the gym, eaten, come back, and like I was still fucking asleep.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, because usually my body wakes me up in 6 hours here.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I even do that?
Man, I'm going to take all the credit for this because
okay,
this has happened to both you and Tyrell only when doing trips with me.
Okay.
So Tyrell had the same problem. You guys would be the best of friends, honestly, if you weren't so similar. Honestly, people that are too similar fucking hate each other.
Agreed.
But like Tyrell got his first 8 hours of sleep when he was my roommate, and like he hadn't had 8 hours of sleep. He said probably like in over 14 years, and he had his first 8 hours, and it was kind of like that sort of idea of like when you feel like you're safe, you're taken care of.
Yeah,
like,
that's a big thing.
Like you're in Mexico, like you're insulated from your
Well,
problems.
you know what? I think I said this to you, was that even when I'm done business for the day and I'm not on call, I'm still available.
Yeah.
There has been nights where my partner calls me and he's like, this fucking tank is leaking.
Yeah.
And we need to bottle it all now or we lose the wine. And I go in at 3 a.m. after working fucking 18 hours or in a row, and I fucking do it. Like,
Yeah.
and even if, like, you know, you live an hour and a half out of the city, even when I'm at your place, it's like if there was a problem, realistically,
Yeah.
I could be, I would be back home.
Yeah.
And dealing with it. So there's this sense of like I'm always on call no matter what.
Yeah.
And even like when, you know, it's my day off or something, like Zach's like, hey, can you respond to that email? Can you respond to that contact form submission? Can you answer this phone call? Hey, someone's going to call you right away. Like there's always shit that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Even when it's like my quote day off. And, but when we went to Mexico, it's like, I don't have service.
It's like, fuck you, my phone's broken.
I don't have service.
Yeah.
And we're fucking 2,500 away.
I can't roll up and help.
I can't get home no matter what.
My flight's in 2 weeks.
And so, and I talked to one of my employees about this afterwards. It was like shit that he would have brought to me normally. He just dealt with himself.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh yeah, I would have run it by you, but you were in fucking Mexico. I'm like, yeah, word. Like, deal.
I'm respecting your space.
Yeah. And, you know, and there were days where I jumped into the group chat and I still managed and stuff. But I think my brain just being like, okay, we're done work right now. There's no way we can help.
And we
was
sat
just
on the
like,
fucking beach and we slept.
Was such a fucking release that I just like woke up 16 hours later and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, it was weird. It was interesting.
I 100% know how you feel because when I was in property management, I was always on. There wasn't even a time of day I could turn off because when it hit...
Because your investors lived in Israel
Right,
and Saudi Arabia and shit,
right,
so time zones.
When it hit 10 p.m., or sorry, 9 p.m., my South Korea dude woke up.
That's when they wake up and start responding to emails. Yeah.
So he's one of my biggest clients, and he's like, South Korea wakes up at 9 p.m. Canadian time. And then midnight is when the flood hits. That's when Israel, UK, and UAE wakes up. Right, we're around like 10, 11, 12, 1.
Yeah.
So they would wake up, my phone starts blowing up. So I managed to stay sane because...
kind of.
Right, because I set on my iPhone, which is a work phone.
The work phone, yeah.
Yeah, I had a mode called bedtime mode.
We have that on Android. It's called Do Not Disturb.
Exactly. Yeah, no, my Pixel actually has a bedtime. It's also called bedtime. But anyways,
Okay.
I'd set bedtime mode from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. And basically what that did is it blocked and silenced all notifications, phone calls, WhatsApp, fucking everything. Nothing would get through. Like my mother could call me 911. Like my phone would not ring. Once I did that, I could sleep.
So what I've been doing recently is that there's a Do Not Disturb mode on your Android. But there's a setting that if someone double calls you, it'll go through.
Oh. Well, so, I would not use that because motherfuckers call me 4 times.
Okay.
Because they're like, I didn't get the email.
But I have that going because my partner...
Your people wouldn't double call you.
My employees, my partner wouldn't double call me unless I need to pick up the phone.
Yeah. So
I have that on to sleep.
Yeah. Hey, fucking technology.
And then if they double call me, then it goes through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I've been trying to consider my mental health, that part of my mental health, like sleeping and eating and stuff.
Because at a certain point, like the reason I start off with energy, the reason I can shut off without guilt is because I know when I get like X request at whatever hour, I'm like, bro, I'm fucking tapped out. I'll deal with this tomorrow. Like,
Do you think though that if you were the owner of that business, it would have been different?
no,
Are you sure?
yes,
Okay.
because my attitude is, what is so urgent? I have to deal with it in the next 12 hours. Like, A, your house is burning down.
At which point you can't help.
At which point I can't help.
Call the fucking fire department.
I'll deal with it when they send me the report. B, like your house is getting broken into. There's a motherfucker in your house with a gun. Call the police. Call me when it's done. C, your fucking money. Like, I don't give a fuck about your money. Like, call me tomorrow. The bank is closed. Like, we can't move your money. We can't touch your money. I can't see your money until bank opens at 8 a.m. Benefits of real estate. They work on business hours. So I could rationally shut down every possible reason for me to answer the phone at that hour. Also because any emergency requests were getting redirected through somebody who was getting paid extra to be on the 24-hour hotline.
Yeah.
So once I put that one person in line, I could just sit down and be like, you know what? Nothing is important until I get in. And I took it a step further where I wouldn't actually turn the whatever blocking mode off of my phone. I had it set until about 10 minutes before I arrived at the office.
Yeah.
So when I woke up, had breakfast, got in my car, I had an hour commute. That entire whatever sequence from waking up to getting to my desk chair
Was helping yourself mentally, preparing for the day.
I did not touch my phone. I did not look at a single thing. Because I knew, this happened to me a couple times. I get a fucking stressful email. I check it at 6 a.m. and I'm stressing about it, and it's fucking spiraled into something by the time I get to the office. Ruins my mindset for the whole fucking day. So, that mental tax is so strong.
But what you just described is not being a workaholic at all.
No.
To the contrary.
Yeah, no, I was very disciplined at controlling it. Because I could feel the pain of it taking over, and it fucking hurts.
Which is why, that's you having awareness and being able to identify. Okay, well, so for instance, let's say you didn't have that do not disturb on and you were on call all the time, whatever.
I wouldn't sleep well.
And how long do you think you could do that for?
I think it'd probably take me 6 to 9 months
Before you're fucking...
And I'd snap.
Yeah.
Like, I'd fucking lose my mind. I don't know what the result would be. If I owned the company... Well, I've seen what that looks like, actually. When your boss fucking loses it and he's like he's had enough. He can't take any more. Like, when your boss loses it, like... Well, I mean, you've probably seen this, with your partner or with maybe clients or with other people. Like, when you hit that too much point, it ain't a good look.
No.
Like, you look weak. You look...
Yeah.
You lose a lot of power in that situation.
Agreed. I don't know. I'm in a weird... there's definitely a lot of part of my job that I still have to do that's still taxing on my mental health that I really don't want to be doing. But it's because it's the startup and we still have to do the job, you know what I mean?
But you also know it's not going to be there for long.
Yes. And that's, I guess, why I'm able to do it. Would be because I know that I just have to do it temporarily.
And you also know that if you hit whatever a certain level of satisfaction, you hit 80%, you hit 90%, that's good enough, you're not going to die if you don't be 100%.
Yeah. Well, at this point, if I'm not on call 24/7, we go under and I don't make a living anymore.
And even that...
Well, I'll survive.
Ain't the end of the world.
Yeah, I'll survive, but...
Of course you'll fucking survive. Yeah. Okay, so to pull you back to my initial point, what do you think the cost is of high mental output over a long period of time? So let's say 30 years from now...
So I said burnout. what does
burn-
that mean?
I think burnout
Let's
is
define that.
I think mental burnout, to get scientific about it,
Yeah.
trusting my mother's opinion, which is usually correct, it's like adrenal burnout.
Okay. Is that
Adrenal
actually a
burnout,
thing?
serotonin, absolutely.
Okay.
So adrenal burnout is like you get into your adrenal system, adrenaline, when you're using any kind of stimulants like caffeine, right? Like
3,4-methylene dioxymethamphetamine.
yeah, or just high stress situations where your adrenaline's up, where your energy's up, and you're excited about something, right?
Oh, and I see a dog.
Right, exactly, adrenaline.
Wow.
Or whatever the
Serotonin,
Never mind.
dopamine,
I was getting whatever the sex one is.
dopamine.
Dopamine. Okay. So when you're
Dopamine's-
getting doped on amine,
When you're getting doped on amine, okay, just
you can that like physical system in your body can wear out,
okay.
and adrenal, like when people say burnout, it usually means adrenal burnout, which means kind of like that extra 110% that you're kicking into every day.
Yep.
That 110% of capacity now becomes like 80.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that your least? I remember my friend Dustin, who owns a food truck. He was telling me that like documented, like his when he gets more sleep, like his productivity in less hours is more productive.
That's how I run.
I don't run like that at all.
Yeah. No, that's 100%.
I just put 110% in. No, I put 40% in everything.
You 40% all the time. No,
Exactly.
I get just as much done, but I sleep 10 hours. So
Just as much done as me.
you work 10 hours, I sleep 10 hours.
I work 100 hours in one day.
Anyways, nobody's sizing dicks here except for us.
Do you
But-
want to
Yes,
on the podcast
later.
live? Okay.
So I think burnout is a cost, yes, but that can be recovered from by resting.
Sure.
That's not a permanent scar.
Oh, so you're asking
Like
what my
fucking
permanent
up your back
is a permanent thing?
is not like rest for 2 weeks and you're over it.
I guess this might be a little bit abstract.
You end up like Trump.
No. This might
You
be
should lose your mind.
this might be a little bit abstract, but what about regret? What about sitting on your deathbed? Lying on your deathbed
I sit on my
And
deathbed
saying-
because I refuse to lie down for the motherfuckers.
and saying, "I wish I didn't work that much."
Right. I think that's, good point. It's going to be your awareness about your time spent. Because I think like Buddy with a broken back is going to be like, I don't regret nothing because, I worked as hard as I had to.
Sure.
And you know what? They got one over on me. Like, he's probably not going to feel like they were completely at fault for everything that went
Well,
wrong
I
in
feel
their
like
life.
people like me and you aren't going to be in a position where we regret the work we do. Like even if
I fucking hope not.
I think even if I fail and the business goes under and whatever,
I'm
I'm
like,
going to be like, well, what else was I fucking doing?
Right, I
Like,
contributed to a mission.
Yeah.
So to that point, like my life goals, I want to spend the first half of my working career getting filthy fucking rich and making a lot of money. I want to spend the second half of my career giving it all away, and I want to go to the grave with nothing.
I want to go to the grave in an Egyptian style tomb with like gold everything and all my pugs are mummified around
but
me.
like that's the last thing you own.
No,
You spend every last dollar on your funeral.
No, I'm gonna hoard it like a fucking dragon.
Bury me with it.
Bury me. There was this guy.
Okay, so I'm gonna kill him first and then raid his grave.
There was this billionaire or something with I forget where. Like, correct me. Google. Okay, I'll just tell the story.
Jamie.
No, there's this billionaire. I think in like Denmark or something. Don't call me on that. But he made this big thing on how he was burying himself with his Bentley or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Or rolls or something.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, put all my money, put all my car, put all this shit in my grave with me, and he made this whole thing, and people were like, that's fucking dumb, you're an idiot, and he's like, but what he was trying to do was bait them into saying that,
Right.
and then he was like, yeah, I know, and that's what you fucking guys sound like when you go to the grave with your kidneys and your fucking liver and shit. Donate that fucking shit.
Right.
And that was his that was his meme, that was his because he
That's
got
pretty
interviewed by all these big publications that are like, oh, this is dumb, and he's like, yeah, I know.
So is taking
Donate your fucking heart when you die. Fuck you.
That's it.
That was his whole point.
That's really smart, actually.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you can probably Google, I don't know, organ donation billionaire or something.
But anyways, that's why I like that. I wanna leave with nothing left on the
See,
track.
I don't want to donate my organs because I want to be buried with like a lightning rod.
Nobody wants your liver.
True. I want to be buried with like a lightning rod so that I can get maybe come back as a zombie.
Ooh. Is that how that works?
Yeah, probably, right?
Or you just get frozen like Disney.
Do you just call Walt Disney Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah, is he cryogenically frozen, do you think?
Probably.
Welcome to the...
There's a lot of sub-levels to that place.
Welcome to the conspiracy portion of the podcast,
I think
where we
he's
talk
fucking
conspiracies.
frozen.
I think he's fucking frozen as well. Apparently,
I would.
Walt Disney is cryogenically frozen with the idea that he gets revived when we have the technology. And apparently, so I heard this from somebody who worked or their brother worked or something at Disneyland. Apparently, there's a tunnel system under Disneyland.
Oh, huge. No, that's common knowledge.
No, that's common knowledge. But
it's like
there's this whole
3-4 levels deep.
Yeah, there's this giant tunnel system for the employees to get around, right?
Yeah. It's like level 2.
Now, that's all fine and dandy. But there's this big steel door marked like do not enter.
Yeah.
And there's no door, there's no way in. And no one goes in. And this person that I like, this is like one level away from me, 2 levels away from me, or whatever. It's like a friend of a friend, or like a brother of a friend. Asked the management, hey, what's this like door? And they're like, we don't know. We don't have a key. No one has a key. I'm like, what do you mean no one has a key? And they're like, no one has a key. We just don't. None of the management. No one can get in.
Yeah, there's
it's just locked.
There's a protocol somewhere that nobody knows about.
This is like you can fact check me, and this is kind of a conspiracy, I guess, but this is like something that's been told to me. I didn't just read it on the internet. That there is a compound essentially underneath in these tunnels that no one has access to for no reason. So the idea is there's a burn box somewhere, or there's like a time capsule somewhere that somebody has that says like this year goes by, fucking unlock, here's the key, unlock, like it's in some safety deposit box in some bank.
Yeah.
And his like great grandson is gonna get a fucking, you know, in like Back to the Future where the guy comes out of nowhere, he's like, I have this letter that says I'm supposed to come to this point on this exact day and give you this. Like, it's gonna be like that, where it's like
Disney has not been dead for long. Like,
always been dead since what, the 70s, I think.
Yeah, well, like relatively speaking, though.
In the human history.
When we were 70, when we were 100.
Yeah.
Or 170, like we.
Yeah, what's gonna happen is like his great kid is gonna get a letter in the mail that's been like post dated to 100 years later or something, like written from Walt Disney in like the 40s. That's like post dated. That's at some post office. That's like mail this in 200 years, and then it comes with a key. That's like for a safety deposit box in New Hampshire, and he goes and gets another key out of that safety deposit box, and then it's like go under fucking Disneyland and open and it's like some cryogenic fucking tubes.
Oh, I hope there's lots of trivia involved.
There's like a map or something.
Like a bunch of Disney trivia.
I'll get off conspiracy topics in a sec, but there was this safe. I think I said this in the group chat. There was this safe that appeared in some farmer's field in America.
Okay.
It's like a big safe, like a giant safe. That one night, farmer's tending the field. He's like, what the fuck? There's this giant safe in the middle of his field. and note attached to it says if you can open it, you can have what's inside.
Oh.
And no one's been able to open it.
Oh.
Like cops have like tried to drill into it and they can't.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Sounds like a task for a YouTube channel.
I think you can use like thermite and get through it, right? Like,
yeah, but you destroy what's inside.
Well, okay, fair. But it's probably just like not worth the budget of the local police department to like do that.
Right. No, I definitely think this is something that Mr. Beast needs to take on.
Mr. Beast, let's do it. Yeah, like
Mr. GG.
Like if Elon wanted to be like, yo,
He'll look
I'm
at
getting it. I'm getting it open.
Oh, 100%.
He could. But it was a real. I thought it was like one of those like creepy pastas, like just like a fake creepy thing. But I googled, there was like actual news stories about it. They just found this when it was giant. Like, how did he get it in here?
Huh?
You know what I mean? It was
dropped it out of a plane.
I don't know. Weird thing.
I wish. Like that's why it gets viral, because everyone's like, oh, I want to go digging in my yard now. I want to go see if there's anything down there.
You better fucking believe I'm gonna do random shit like that when I'm a fucking billionaire. Leave these safes everywhere.
It's like Stephen King's Tommy Knockers, where she's like living on this massive property and like trips over a thing, and it turns out to be like a giant alien starship. And as you're reading this, you're like, oh my god, I want to go adventuring in the woods now.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just like all a big scam from Parks, Manitoba,
It's from big parks to sell
big parks,
trying to
get us to like, go outside.
Can we talk about how this year is the first year that they're not selling physical park passes? You have to print them out yourself, but it's more expensive to do that.
And it's also tied to a license plate.
And it's tied to your license plate for the first time ever.
Which is awful.
You can't just hang it on your rearview mirror and go.
Can we talk about how tourism is becoming... So here's an idea that I actually quite enjoy for personal gain reasons. I don't follow these channels enough to know, but from what I've heard is like being a jet setter, fucking traveling by plane, going, whatever, flying across the ocean, going to Europe, going to Africa, whatever. Like that's becoming uncool because planes guzzle a lot of fucking gas.
Yeah, I think the whole...
People are getting shamed.
The influencers that are like, oh, healthy living, but they fucking fly everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a thing, yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% getting shamed for your excessive consumption, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So tourism is getting turned more local because people don't realize, like, there are people that fly into Canada to see prairies, to see Manitoba. Like, there's travelers that come here.
We have a ton of tourism here.
Right. It's not as huge as, like...
People from here, like, why the fuck would you ever come to Manitoba?
Right.
We have a ton of, like, Chinese people, all, like, East Asia, like, Europeans even. Like, we have a ton of tourism here.
Right. And locals will say, why would you come here, until you give them a list of things to do and they actually go and do all of them. I love
this fucking province, man.
Right.
I have never been negative about this fucking province.
Right. So there's so much you can do here. And I am super happy about this trend of local tourism. Like, stay the fuck home and just see what's happening.
Well, and especially with COVID, when you can't travel, right? Like, okay, realistically, so we're in
September
of 2020. Excuse me. It looks like the second wave is happening in many of the states.
Yeah.
More or less. Things are getting worse, it seems.
Yes.
Do you realistically think something like this, like whether, I don't want us to talk about whether it's a fucking conspiracy or trying to control us or anything like that, but I realistically think we could have these kind of lockdown procedures for 3 or 4 years from now.
I think maybe not per se lockdowns, but
like masks and social distancing and stuff.
Yeah, and paranoia to go along with that,
and traveling to fucking other places. Right. So I think local tourism, like you're talking about, is only going to become bigger right now.
That's expected to be a roughly 2 year cycle of social distancing, and roughly 4 years for example, international,
before things get back to normal,
for like air travel to get to where it was. But there's also a lot of people that think it's never going to get back to where it was.
I don't know if it is, man.
Because it's like a time. It's a mindset shift of a generation.
So I follow this Twitter account that's pretty funny. It's called Accidentally Left Wing. I don't know what their ad is, but just search it on Twitter, Accidentally Left Wing. And it's like right-wing people trying to make points, but it's like, yes, we agree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one of them, for an example, would be like, oh, we're gonna fucking pay, McDonald's worker $15 an hour. How about we just fucking pay every shitty job $15 an hour? And they're being sarcastic, but it's like, yes, that's what we believe, right? So accidentally left wing. So there was one that was like, oh, we're gonna fucking wear these masks, whatever. Maybe we should just wear masks in regular flu season. And it's like,
that's actually a great idea.
That's what Asia's been doing for a long time. Yes, that's what we should do. It's like anytime you're feeling sick, you should wear a fucking mask.
Yeah.
It was just interesting.
It's not difficult for one.
I think a lot of these things with social distancing and stuff, I think it's gonna stay.
I fucking hope so. It's common sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't lick the doorknobs.
And speaking from somebody like myself that's very anti-government and anti-government control, I don't like that they're compelling us to do stuff, but they don't compel people to wear masks in Asia either. People just do out of common courtesy.
Right.
Right.
At a certain point, there's like a push and a nudge and a suggestion.
Well, no, because
For now it has to be enforced.
As far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, in like China and stuff, there's no mandate. You don't have to do it, but it's a social norm.
Oh yeah,
It's
no, in China for
weird.
sure.
It's
No, I'm
weird.
saying to get a kick started here.
People would shame you if you're not doing it.
Yeah, you cough on a train, people look.
People
at
are like,
you.
"What the fuck are you not wearing a mask for, you
You know,
douchebag?"
the conductor is probably like pulls a mask out of his pocket
Yeah,
and
like-
is like, "Put this shit on, you dumbass."
Well, and have you seen the drip these fucking guys have? They match the fucking mask to their outfits and shit.
Yeah.
They got drip, man. It's
They gotta
fucking,
figure it
I
out.
love it.
You got the Gucci
Well,
mask.
and they do that a lot for like the sickness, obviously, but their air quality is garbage, right?
Yeah, it's like smoking a pack a day or something, walking on the
Just
streets of
walking-
Hong
it's
Kong.
fucked. And have you seen fucking California right now?
About the same.
California just hit a world record for their hottest temperature ever recorded.
Oof.
Uh,
And wind.
it was like
It's windy as fuck.
50 degrees or something.
Celsius?
Yeah,
Oof.
120.
What?
Yeah, no. It was
Oh, God.
in Death Valley, California, which
Yeah.
is the hottest place of California. No, it's like it was hotter than fucking like Qatar. Like it was unbearably hot, and they're having a big
Fires.
forest fire problem right now, which may or may not have been caused entirely by fucking baby gender reveals.
At least in part.
Oh my fucking
His
god.
name is Sean.
Well, apparently that one guy had a baby reveal where they like shot off a firework. That was like a blue firework.
Or a flare of some
Whatever. And it fucking burned down like 100,000 acres of fucking
Forest.
trees.
Oof.
Well, I read something. It was actually a meme when I saw it, but then I looked into it. Apparently California bought a ton of eucalyptus trees from Australia.
Yeah, for the reforestation
like
program.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
To reforest all this forest, and the eucalyptus trees do not, something about California's climate, it like the sap
Builds
solidifies or
Yeah.
something and becomes like a fucking black powder, like a fucking explosive almost. And so they planted all this fucking dry fire baiting shit, and then they're surprised when like fires
It's
happen.
detonating like hand grenades.
Well, and like, I won't give Trump a lot of credit, but I will give him credit here where he's like, I'm not the fucking governor of California.
Okay.
He's like, why are they banning plastic straws and not dealing with their fucking fire? Like,
So here's the fact check on that.
okay.
Majority of the forest, reforestation, forest control, parks, whatever, majority of what he's bitching about is actually under federal control and not controlled by the government.
Okay, I didn't look into it, so
Yeah, so it's like he made that fucking statement, but like, that's federal.
okay. But
they're like,
to
oh,
be
you're-
fair, though, reforesting is not exactly something that happened in the last 4 years.
No, it's But the irony is he blames it on the current Democrat governor when it's a federal issue, which could have been Democrat or Republican, depending on when the trees are fucking planted, because they're decades old.
Well, exactly, right?
Like, go fuck yourself.
It's so this is such a non-issue.
It's a spotlight. It's a spotlight.
It's such a non-political issue. Well, but I've seen a bunch of
let's make trees a partisan problem. Go fuck yourselves.
Well, because I've seen a bunch of like left-wing publications be like, "This is Trump's America. It's literally burning." Like,
yeah,
and I'm like, how is that his fault?
I think that's just the narrative right now. Biden's America.
I'm so ready for this fucking election.
Oh God!
So I can stop listening to the fucking propaganda.
Let's talk about the election. What are we gonna do on the election night?
I think we should. I think we're gonna live stream the election.
Do we want to bring people?
I think what we'll do is we're gonna do it all day, and we'll like bring people in, like my roommates and whoever else can
You're the PPC friends.
Yeah, all my friends can like come through and leave at their own leisure.
Yeah.
But me and you will be on camera, one of us at least, at all times.
I think that sounds great.
We'll do like a 12-hour stream, live streaming the election results, and we'll have it like.
Here's the fun: is the election results will not be done on the 3rd. You'll get. So here's the funny farce, is because mail-in voting and all that stuff. At the end of election night, or whatever they call it, you have basically it's news networks that are calling it and being like, "Oh, like
yeah." Because statistically, if you hit a certain number, you're gonna win.
And they've been right mostly every time. There's been like one time it went up to whatever through the courts and whatever, it was disputed. I forget which president that was, but this election is basically is pretty much guaranteed to be disputed by Trump, and he's like probably not going to accept the result that comes in until it goes through court. For number one, and number two is like mail-in ballots take a while to process, so we're not going to get the actual result. And number three, there's a phenomenon which is called the blue shift, which means elections usually start in favor of the Republicans and finish tilting towards the Democrats.
I thought it was the opposite.
No, blue shift. It's literally called blue shift.
I thought it was the opposite.
No,
because I saw a meme. Maybe it's the opposite in Canada.
Maybe in Canada, but in the US it's blue shift.
There's a great meme I shared. Or I don't think I shared it because I tried to stay partisan on my Facebook. But saw a meme that was like the liberals always lead at the beginning until the conservatives get off work.
So the thing in the US is the Republicans win because the Democratic seats that are
it's harder to vote for.
They're in like more population dense areas,
and it's longer.
More votes to count.
Did you know in America they fucking don't give you the day off to vote?
No.
What the fuck is that about?
It's garbage.
In Canada,
that's a partisan issue that the Republicans oppose.
In Canada, your employer has to give you 3 consecutive hours on election day paid to go vote.
Yeah.
That's just a law.
No, that's a
You have to be able to vote.
That's a partisan issue in the States.
Why? Why do you not just vote, right?
Here's a historical lesson.
Wow, I love
voter.
Hold on. Historical lessons with Tyler.
Voter suppression is a standard tactic of the Republican Party. Simply because, you know, who votes for Republicans is usually the older, whiter...
Rich white people.
Right. So they vote whenever the fuck they want because they have control, freedom of their lives. Voter suppression is about, like, reducing number of places to vote.
Yeah.
Restricting hours.
Yeah.
Being like, we don't pay you when you go to... Like,
see,
all these subtle things.
In Canada, we just all agree...
Right.
You know in Australia, they can fine you if you don't vote?
Yeah.
They can give you like a $300 fine or something for not voting.
Yeah, that's insane.
Apparently they never do. They never give those out, but...
Voting participation in the States is like 50% at best.
Well, here it's low too. It's less than 50%.
Right. But...
Our turnout for the provincial election was like 38% or something.
Right, but it's not like there's... You don't hear stories of people being like, I waited in line 14 hours to try and
here,
vote. No.
Because every single school and community center has a polling booth here.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Pretty much. Like every neighborhood.
My neighborhood had 40. They're like, they literally mailed me a thing. They're like, you can go here, 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 or here. And for the provincial one, if you're voting on the day, if you're voting, because you can vote a week in advance with just your ID.
Yeah.
If you're advanced voting, you can vote anywhere in the city.
Right.
It's only election day you have to go to your designated place because it gets too busy.
Right.
But if you're advanced voting, which you can do just by walking in, you don't need the letter, you don't need anything. You just need your ID. They have you on a list, or they have you in the. I don't know how they do it. It's a system, I guess. They have a system. Whatever, it works. You just show up with your ID, and you can vote anywhere in the city.
Yeah, great system.
It works.
There's no reasonable voter suppression in Canada.
There's never been a Canadian election, or correct me if I'm fucking wrong, but there's never been a Canadian election where we're like doubting the results.
No,
Like it's always been like the UN would agree and everyone would agree. Every other country looking at it would be like, yeah, they had a legitimate election. Like no one's ever questioning the legitimacy of our elections.
And in the U.S. history, the only
George goddamn W. Bush. There was that whole conspiracy where he fucking he destroyed a bunch of ballot boxes, and that's why fucking what's that climate change guy's name? Al Gore. That's why he lost. Was because the second time they lost hundreds of thousands of votes or something.
All right, just ballots were gone.
Ballots were gone or so. They Google it. I'm sure you can find it. That happened though.
Yeah,
people were like, "Oh, that was not a legitimate election."
Yeah, voter suppression is typically Republican because the way that it goes, like when you do voter suppression, it affects predominantly the younger demographic, the new voters, people that don't.
Because I'm not going to go wait in a fucking line for 2 hours.
Right. So committed voters will vote no matter what.
And which is typically old people are like, I'm going to fucking vote.
Exactly. You're going to have to kill me before I don't vote.
So explain this to me like I'm 5. Why people have a problem with mail-in voting.
Because
or
Trump,
absentee voting.
Because Trump says that it's a problem.
That's because we have that here.
No, that's literally it.
Okay, because everyone in the military votes absentee.
No, it's been in place for
since the fucking American Civil War. They had it
for 200 years.
Yeah.
It's been in place,
and there's never been a problem.
And they've been doing it consistently, and they've never ever had a single election where they had any considerable doubt between mail-in
apparently the fraud rate is 6 zeros, 0.00000006 or something, like 6 zeros and then a number is the fraud rate, which is negligible, which is nothing.
Right.
Literally nothing, literally zero if you round to 5 digits.
The only reason anybody's talking about it is
because Trump is?
Trump.
Okay. All right. Because my partner voted by mail this year, or last election, just because he's like, I'm just going to vote by mail because it's funny.
Yeah.
We could have gone down to a fucking, I think he was with me at the polling booth when I voted, but he's like, I voted by mail. There was no reason for him to, but he just did.
Mail fraud in general, people don't fuck with mail.
Well, I don't get
it's a heavy charge.
Well, no, and even if it's not, because, okay, so how does it work? They send you a ballot.
Yeah.
And then you fill it out and send it back, right?
Yeah.
How does it get fraud? I don't understand.
Because the idea is people could dump a fistful of fake ballots into a drop-off box.
But when they receive them, your name's in the system.
Right.
So how does that...
It doesn't matter. All that matters is Trump says you can drop a bag of these ballots off at a voting or
that's not how that works.
But it doesn't matter.
Because they have your name on the other end, right?
You don't need you're already thinking further than most people do.
Okay, all right.
You're 90% further down the road than most fucking people do.
Okay.
Trump says they just dump hundreds of thousands of false ballots. Oh, that must be true. Because that sounds possible. I could dump a ton of shit in the mailbox if I wanted to. It's not how it works, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Because the narrative is that's what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. America's fucked.
1,000%. If anybody's democracy is at risk, it's that fucking Democratic Republic. It's not a fucking democracy.
Well,
it's a republic.
I forget who said it originally, but mightier empires have fallen than America.
Oh, absolutely.
Rome.
And
right?
China is there to oversee it.
mightier empires have fallen in history than America. I don't think it's ridiculous that they just get fucked and
chirpy old Canada becomes
the only reason it's
king.
different now is because they have nuclear weapons.
Right.
But
They got a big swinging dick.
yeah.
And also, here's the more important thing. They dictate global culture in a big way.
Yeah, they really do.
Like the Black Lives Matter movement, George Floyd, like that's solidified above anything about the effective American culture over the world.
Oh yeah.
Like they spark protests globally.
Yep.
So more so than military force, everyone's paying attention.
You know what I like about, because like Black Lives Matter was founded in 2014 when Barack Obama was president.
Yeah.
People forget that. And like I saw a bunch of like we forget that Barack Obama's administration, I don't know if he had anything to do with it, sent armed fucking militarized police and fucking military to like Standing Rock First Nation to fucking shoot at natives that were protesting pipelines going through the land and shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this isn't a fucking Trump thing. There's such a system,
not.
like both sides are so systematically broken. Like it's not even.
Well, your figurehead makes little difference.
Yeah. Well, and especially in America where states have so much fucking power over themselves.
Municipal power, like, man, working in Cleveland made me realize like there's so many levels. You have city, tons of power. You have
our city has no fucking power.
Right. You have county.
Counties are a thing. That's weird.
County has a lot of power.
That's like
and then you have state.
A county is kind of like a rural municipality, right?
Right, but they have way more power.
But they have counties in cities as well, right?
Right. You know what a sheriff is, right?
Yeah.
That's a county official.
Because a sheriff in Canada is a court enforcer. They can only arrest you in court.
Right.
Like they're like a bailiff.
Right.
Is a sheriff in Canada. We don't have I guess we have provincial police, like
so
just Ontario and Quebec have a provincial police.
So in the States, you could get charged, you get arrested, whatever, by a city cop. You could get arrested by a county officer if you're in that county. You could get charged by a state official, and you get charged/arrested by a federal official. You have you have 4 levels of jurisdiction in one place.
And they can't fuck with each other, right?
They can, but they supersede each other in certain instances and not others.
What's it from? Like Brooklyn's Finest, I think.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No, Brooklyn's Finest, the film, where like he's chasing a criminal, and then the supervisor like stops him. He's like, "No, what's our fucking jurisdiction go to?" He's like, 27th Street. He's like, "And what fucking street did you just run over to?"
Yeah.
It's like 26th Street. He's like, "Yeah, get the fuck back over here." When he's like, "But I have him. I have the criminal." And it's like, "No, fuck you.
That's not your precinct.
It's not your fucking jurisdiction." Like,
yeah.
Ugh, it's shit like that.
It's a weird
system. If you drive out of a fucking state, they can't chase you anymore. Unless it's a federal case.
All the serial killer podcasts I listen to.
That's all the state lines. That's what they say. State lines.
No, county lines.
County lines.
They walk over county lines between cities in the same county. And cities in the same county, or between 2 counties in the same state, or 2 fucking
Kansas
states
City,
in the
Missouri
same
versus
country.
Kansas City, Kansas.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't talk.
Well, no, I don't know if I should out myself here. I have a warrant for my arrest in Minnesota.
I probably do too.
No, I do.
In Ohio.
In Minnesota. But I get over the border just fine in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Because fucking Minnesota doesn't talk to anyone.
Right.
It's not a thing. It's nothing bad.
It's a state issue.
It's not my
fucking traffic.
I'll just clear it up before we have conspiracies. The warrant is nothing bad. It was a traffic violation.
Moving violation, whatever.
But I didn't go to court, and then they sent a thing, and then I moved houses, didn't get any of the letters.
And you can't do it over the phone. You can't do it online. Like,
yeah, I can do it like over mail, but then I moved, and I never got the mail.
Right.
And then I just never dealt with it.
Yeah.
And now I think it's funny. But technically, I think what they said was I fled the country.
It's not.
I don't live in the fucking country. Fuck off.
It's not wrong.
Fuck off. It was nothing bad, though. It's a traffic thing.
Yeah.
But
No,
they did say the word warrant, so I don't know.
Okay, can we film a podcast of us trying to cross the border
In Minnesota. No, we'll get fucking arrested.
I know, it'd be hilarious.
No,
I'll
it
stream the whole
will.
thing.
It's not.
No, it'll be great. We'll bring a lawyer
No, and
with
then
us.
like if they're ever like detain me or not detain me, but like if they ever pull me over or whatever, I'm not like I will not drive in Minnesota, but I'll be in the car, right?
Yeah.
They'll pull us over. This hasn't happened yet, but if they ever like pulled us over and they're like, "Can I get your ID?" I'll be like, "Oh, sorry, I don't have my ID." And they'll be like, "Well, how the fuck did you get?" I'm like, "No, I'm from here, from Minnesota. My name is Tyler Bergen.
Fuck you.
You know, I'm from Crosby, Minnesota." And they're like, "Prove it." And I'm like, "Fuck you. Okay."
Get a warrant.
Well, no, how do you want me to prove it, buddy? I don't have a phone,
Drive me home.
and I don't have a license. I don't know what you want from me. I don't have fucking ID. What do you, like, I live here. Fuck off. What are they gonna? How do they make me do it?
We put on a World Star is what we'll do.
So, that's my plan if I ever get arrested there.
I'm in.
All right.
Ladies and germs, we've come a long way.
From what?
At the beginning of this podcast.
What are you talking about?
I think I'm done. Are you done?
140.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. Okay.
1 hour 40. Podcast 2 with microphones. Possibly 1 if we delete the other one.
We'll see what I said.
So sorry.
Thank you for listening to Alcohol Beyond This Point. Really appreciate it. That's at Alcohol Beyond This Point on Instagram, Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast on Facebook.
Hopefully you found some value in this session of talking shit about our problems.
And if you are listening to the podcast right now, and you're a new listener, because now that we have good mics, you've come to listen, please comment on somewhere. Doesn't matter where. YouTube, Spotify. Can you comment? I don't think so.
I honestly haven't tried.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anything. Tell us where you're listening from. We really appreciate it. My co-host has a name.
Tyler
And your Instagram.
_ the builder.
Tyler _ the builder. And my name is Willows. I'm the other co-host. And my name is, or my @ is Vote Willows, VOTEWILOWS. That's on everything. Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch,
OnlyFans. Seeking arrangements.
AshleyMadison.com.
All of those.
We have a Ashley. No, what is it? The furniture store here.
Ashley.
No, it's like something Madison or something something like that. And then every time I go past, I'm like, "Oh, Ashley Madison Home Store."
It's just Ashley Furniture.
Is it just Ashley Furniture?
Ashley Home.
Ashley Home Store, but I'm like Ashley Madison Home Store every time I drive past it.
It's fine.
Anyway, that's the extra marital affair site. Anyway, thank you for listening to this podcast. This is episode 19. We're calling it Willows Isn't Blackout Yet because I was blackout last podcast. And we will keep blasting you in the head area with some good
In the ear holes.
some good podcasting.
Bye.
Bye.